Welcome to the Dope Sheets, just one guy's opinion. I'm your host, Wayne Demers, and today we're going to review James Bond, No Time to Die. This is reportedly Daniel Craig's last James Bond film. He has said this is it, this is the last one. And I got to tell you, if you're a fan of the Bond films, I don't know how you can't absolutely love this film. So when I was growing up, I had always heard of James Bond films, and but I hadn't seen one. Certainly never saw one from beginning to end. And my friend, his father was a big James Bond buff. And so I think I may have sat in on one of the movies on a weekend where we were just hanging out and we watched the movie and I became a fan. So thank you, Mr. Flag, wherever you are. He's no longer with us, but thank you, Mr. Flag, because you turned me on to James Bond way back when. I think I've seen almost all of them. But it's unfortunate you weren't here or aren't here to see this one because I would love your take on it. But anyway, so James Bond has been played by a number of actors over the years. The first one was played by Sean Connery. He did Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, and Never Say Never Again. Then was David Niven, and he did Casino Royale, the original that came out in 1967. Then was George Lazenby, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which came out in 1969. Then a very popular Roger Moore. I would say he's probably the second most popular. Forget Daniel Craig for a moment. But I would say Sean Connery is probably the most popular, and then probably Roger Moore, who did Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and A View to a Kill. Then Timothy Dalton came in, didn't do a bad job, but those movies, a lot of people don't really, I don't find many fans of those James Bond movies. And then because Timothy Dalton did the Living Daylights and License to Kill. Then in the 80s, Remington Steele, who's I think played by Pierce Brosnan, everybody wanted him to play James Bond, but I think there were contractual obligations that he had to do Remington Steele and couldn't do James Bond. But eventually, in 1995, he was able to do GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. He was a good James Bond. I think there were a lot of things that they were trying maybe a little bit different with James Bond, such as him driving BMWs, which, so if you're British icon character is always known for driving an Aston Martin, and then you switch over to driving a BMW, that didn't go over too well. So then in 2005, we had Daniel Craig. And if you remember when his first movie came out, there was a lot of backlash, like, oh, he doesn't have dark hair. He's blonde haired, blue eyed, and kind of didn't fit the mold of James Bond until you saw James Bond. His first one was Casino Royale. Then he did Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and then this one, No Time to Die. No Time to Die was supposed to come out in 2020, but because of the pandemic, it went on hiatus. I think it was supposed to come out in the summer, and then they pushed it back to November. And then the pandemic was starting to hit, or had hit, and so then it got pushed back to this year and then to a later date. Now we have it anyway. Here we are in October 2021. We have No Time to Die, and man, does this movie deliver. I saw it in IMAX. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Okay, here we go. James Bond, No Time to Die. It is 2 hours and 43 minutes. It's rated PG-13 for all the violence. I saw it in IMAX, but you could also catch it in standard. Stars Daniel Craig, which we know him from the previous 007 movies I just mentioned. He's also in Knives Out, and he was also in a comedy role called Logan Lucky. If you haven't seen Logan Lucky, it's not a great film, but you can catch him in a comedic role, and you can catch Elvis Presley's daughter in it. Okay, so yeah, and I can't remember the gentleman's name because I can never remember his name. But anyway, there's another actor in it. It was very good. But anyway, it was a comedy. Also stars Lashana Lynch. She was in Captain Marvel, the last Captain Marvel movie. She plays a double O character. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil anything in this review for you. I'll tell you a little bit of information, things that you may have seen in the trailer. So, and then Raymie Malik. He's really known for Bohemian Rhapsody. When he played Freddie Mercury, he was outstanding in it, and I think he actually won an Academy Award for his role. And then he was also in Mr. Robot, which was a great TV series, or a very good TV series. I enjoyed it. So if you're going to do a 007 film, there are certain things, certain boxes you need to check in order for it to be a good James Bond film. One, you need that iconic opening title of when Bond is in the sights of a gun that's moving around, and then all of a sudden he walks out and bang, he shoots first, right? Check, you get that one in this movie. You need to have an Aston Martin. Man, that Aston Martin from the original series, that 60s DB5. Well, it's in, you know he's in it. You know that car's in the movie because it's in the trailer, and you know it's kind of tricked out. You need to have that martini, shaken, not stirred. Check, that's in there. You need Bond to say, Bond. James Bond. Check, that's in there. You need to have beautiful women. Check, that's in there. James Bond has to get the woman. Check, that's in there. And you need Q and his gadgets. Check, that's in there. And you need a good villain. And this movie comes with a decent villain. Not the best or most iconic of villains in James Bond movies, but a good villain nonetheless. This has to be the most action-packed opening sequence to a Bond film I've ever seen. So a lot of that opening sequence you'll catch in the trailer, okay? But man, what an amazing scene. The stunts, the driving. I mean, first of all, let me just say, whoever did the stunt driving in this movie, what an amazing job. The stunt actors, amazing job. That it was one of those things that I caught. I paid attention to because there was one scene where a bike is going up these stairs, and I happened to notice that they filled each step with sand, so that way the bike made a smooth transition from step to step to step as it went uphill. And because I noticed that, I kind of paid attention to a lot of the driving and if I would notice anything else. But man, it's amazing. The cars are amazing in this movie. Okay, so let me find, let's see. There are 9 cars that are types of cars that are in this movie. Okay, so number 1 is the Aston Martin Db5. That's that iconic 60s where the lights flip down, the guns come out. Well, he's got an updated version over here. He doesn't have machine guns. He's got like a Gatling gun that comes out of that thing. Man, that was amazing. It's one of the sexiest cars ever built. So that one takes the show right at the beginning. Then there's the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Beautiful car. I'm not sure what year it is, but it's got to be late 60s, very early 70s. Beautiful car. Then there's the Aston Martin Superleggera. That's a more modern car. It's nice, doesn't have a big presence in there. There's a bunch of Land Rovers in there. There's a Jaguar XF in there, a Range Rover Sport, a Toyota Land Cruiser, and then the motorcycle that we see in the trailer is a Triumph Scrambler. So those of you that know bikes, and there's an Aston Martin Valhalla, not driven in the movie, but you see it. And if you don't know what it is, because I didn't know what it was either, you'll know which one it is just because the name Valhalla certainly kind of fits this one when it's in the background. And you'll be like, oh, I wonder what that car is. Oh, it must be that Valhalla that Wayne was talking about. And then there was also the Maserati Quattroporte. That was in the very beginning of the movie as well. So that's like the big cars that are in the movie. And for a car buff like myself, even though I'm not really up to speed on my European cars, you know when you see a Maserati, you know when you see an Aston Martin, that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool to see those cars. They play a prominent role almost in every Bond film, whether it was like a 1970s Mustang or a Lotus that turned into a submarine, or the BMWs that we had there in the 90s. But the cars have always been prevalent in the James Bond films. But getting back to this one, the story was decent, although I have to tell you, it felt it's nearly 3-hour runtime. Okay, but I don't know what I would ever take out because we're trying to tell a story. They want to make sure that we're giving Daniel Craig a good farewell. If this truly is his last film, which everything leads me to believe it is, because he said the movie before this one would be his last one, but this is his last one, supposedly, then they wanted to wrap it up. And boy, I got to say, if this is his last one, what a heck of a way to go out. What a farewell to give the fans. So there was that. There is no after credit scene. However, there is a line at the end of the movie, at the end of the credits, that says James Bond will return. So, which is good because you can keep making them. I'm going to keep going to see them. I like James Bond. So, what do we know about this without, what can I tell you without giving anything away? James Bond is retired, and then he finds his way back into the spy game. And we have some iconic villains or at least one iconic villain in the film. We have another 00, and it's a female 00, which is great because I can't remember. I don't think we ever had an official female 00 character, right? And 00, well, 007 is that they have a license to kill. And so this 00 agent also has a license to kill. She was an interesting character. I like how they play off one another, James Bond and this character. So that was interesting. So we see that, and there's a love interest with James Bond, and we understand the complexity of their relationship, which ties in throughout the movie. And let's see, what else can I tell you about it that's interesting? Daniel Craig. I mean, I think anybody that's seen all of Daniel Craig's movies, or if you've never watched a James Bond film in the past and you only started with Daniel Craig, you'll definitely think he's the best. To me, he's number 2. I still really enjoy what's his name there? Sean Connery. Sean Connery is still, to me, the iconic James Bond. But man, Daniel Craig, you've nailed it time and time again. And If you're not coming back, boy, have you really raised the bar for anybody else that's going to play James Bond in the future, male or female. The bar has been raised. It is set. And I would not want to be an actor coming after Daniel Craig as 007 because I just don't know if you could do it, that character, that much justice as he has. Man, that guy is still fit. I don't know how old he is. Let's see if I can look that up real quick. How old is Daniel Craig? Let's see. Daniel Craig was born in 1968. He's 52. Man, I always say a guy is in phenomenal shape. And he just, and you know, for the women out there, there's some eye candy of Daniel Craig out there during the movie, so I'll kind of let you know that. Q was in the movie. I enjoyed him. Thought he was his typical Q. I love the gadgets. There's gadgets in the movie, just like that Aston Martin. You know, he's got. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we've ever seen, and I could be wrong, but I feel like this was the most gadgets we've seen with that Aston Martin than in another movie. So I really enjoyed it. It was great throwback. I like how they incorporated the car into the movie because the car is just like an actor or a character rather, as a character in the movies. So I don't know how much else I can tell you that might give away any of the story. I think you do need to go and see it. And you do need to go and see it in a theater. I saw it in IMAX. Some of the scenes that are in the film were filmed on IMAX cameras, which means it's a much larger film that they use. And now if it's digital, it's a really high resolution image. So if you see it in IMAX and it's shot on an IMAX camera, you're getting depth of field, color, just a very big panoramic view. And that came through. As a matter of fact, the sound was incredible in there. As a matter of fact, in the opening scene, when you hear that iconic James Bond intro, you know, there were people who were clapping in the theater, very excited. There was one guy there. He was dressed to the nines. The guy had a full tuxedo on to come and see the movie. That was pretty cool. And on the way out of the movie, all I kept hearing was how surprised people were, how they felt about the movie. Okay. I don't want to go into too much detail, but how they felt about the movie. So I feel like everybody was entertained that was there. I certainly was entertained. I most likely would like to see it again. If there's one thing, one drawback was that lull. There was a lull in the movie, a lot of storytelling about 2 hours in. And I was just like, wow, man, I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the 2 hour runtime. And this is when you're giving me this kind of lull. So it's kind of hard to stay awake, well, at least for me, to stay awake for a little bit. But, you know, once you get through that and you get into how they wrap things up in the closing of the movie, it gets really exciting yet again. So, yeah, you got to go and see this, and you have to go see it in the theater. I can tell you it's worth a $17, $18 ticket. I mean, it's almost 3 hours that you're going to be in there. So you're definitely going to want a popcorn or some kind of concessions. You're going to want a large drink because it's a long movie to sit through. But man, did it deliver. It really did deliver. So if you're a James Bond fan, I would love to hear from you, your take on it, some of the things you may have seen, because there were some throwbacks. There were some things in the background that are nods to other James Bond movies, which I thought was great. And and Billie Eilish, she did the song at the very beginning, which I thought was pretty neat. Even so, you get that opening title sequence to James Bond, and then you get that traditional, very artsy opening sequence that really is the intro to the movie. You know, you get the song and everything, and so they've just kept with that. You get everything. I think that you get everything a fan wants to get out of a James Bond film. That's my take on it. So you may not share my opinion, and that's okay. I would love to hear your opinion down below. And please don't post any spoilers down below in the comments. I really would like. I really try my hardest when you have a good movie and there may be a surprise or a twist or something you're not expecting in the movie. I like people to experience it themselves just like I experienced it, so that way you can enjoy the movie more. So please don't post any spoilers down there. Maybe I'll do, you know what, maybe I will find a friend who is also a big 007 fan, and we'll do a spoiler review. He or she and I can, kind of tag team discussing all the finer points of the movie, and maybe if there was anything that got let down. And one other thing, that there was a couple lines in the movie, I felt like either they mumbled or they went by so fast I couldn't make out what the heck they said, and I was like, I'll catch on. We'll just keep going. And I didn't miss anything. Whatever it is that they said, it couldn't have been too significant. But anyway, go check out the movie. It opens tonight. Tonight is Thursday, October 6th. Is it 6th? 7th. October 7th. So true release date is on Friday, tomorrow. But man, this is going to be the big movie right now until I think Halloween Kills comes out. I think that might be the next big draw. But anyway, give this one a check. Go to the theater to see it. I'm not sure if it's available on HBO Max. I wonder if it says before I go here. Let's Google this. Is No Time to Die on HBO? Oops. Yeah, Max. Has been released in theaters, and it'll be available, HBO Max. So, Oh, so it will not be, it is not on HBO Max at the time, because it's an MGM film, not a Warner Brothers film. So, you got to go to the theater until they release it on Netflix or whatever streaming service you use. But I definitely think it's worth your money. Please go check it out. Come back, leave your review for me to read, and I'll comment on it. Please, if you find any of these reviews worth your while, like I've said before, I'm just trying to save you $1 from going to the theater and spending, $15 on a ticket and another $20 on concessions, and then say, hey, movie stank. I don't want to, hey, maybe I can save you a couple bucks. So if you do, please subscribe, follow me, put a like, whatever, leave a comment. I would really appreciate it, especially if you could share it with your friends. Anyway, I'm Wayne Demers. This is Just One Guy's Opinion. I hope to catch you real soon.